What's up, everybody? It's Greg Birch with Delta Financial, and this is the Be the Difference podcast. This podcast is all about making you a better person in your life and in your business with coaching on sales, leadership, mindset, marketing, everything under the sun when it comes to being an entrepreneur. We bring on guest speakers. Today, I have the honor and pleasure of welcoming Mr. Joey Drolshagen with us.
It's
Joey.
Great to be here with you, Greg. I love that opening music, man. It just
pretty good, right? It's real exciting. And then you just jump in with a pop. I love the energy, right?
Absolutely.
Every single time. For those of you that don't know Joey, let me go ahead and introduce him. So Joey Drolshagen is bios featured in Fox, NBC, and CBS, along with being named one of the top business coaches in America for 2 consecutive years in the New York City Journal and Disruptors magazine. Joseph Drolshagen is the coach for business owners, combining his 28-year career in corporate America up to VP of sales and his extensive knowledge of the mind. Joey has created innovative systems that utilize both worlds to bring about massive results, both personally and professionally. Different from other task-based business coaches, Joey has proven that keeping total mindset alignment as top priority achieves greater results in a shorter period of time. Utilizing his subconscious mindset training method, he helps small business owners across America align their conscious and subconscious mind with their vision, transforming self-sabotaging behaviors while linking accelerating habits that lead to greater success. Joey leads clients to closing their knowing doing gaps through creating systems of habits and personal transformation. He proves time and again that when you shift the conditioning causing limitation, you quickly begin noticing opportunities that are currently passing you by and achieve greater results for your efforts. You will achieve massive success, not only in your business, but in every area of your life. Man, this is right in our wheelhouse for what this show is all about, Joey. This is going to be good, I can already tell.
Yeah. I love hearing my bio. And what I love about it really, Greg, isn't so much like what I do, but what people have experienced that I've worked with.
Yeah.
You know, that's where like the real like heart of it is.
Yeah. And be able to touch other people and have that impact with them. No, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree 1,000%. So what got you into coaching, man?
What's that?
What got you into coaching? How'd this start?
So I started out, I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, back when it wasn't a great place to live.
Yeah.
and I got through with my schooling and stuff like that, you know, my high school and stuff. And I went right into the workforce and I ended up kind of working around getting into sales. And I didn't really know it. At the time, I thought everything was like a used car salesman and things like that. And it's like, I don't ever want to do sales. And sure enough, I put enough emphasis on it that it pulled me into it, you know?
Most people don't want to do sales. I'm not a good salesperson. They end up being the best, right?
Yeah. And you know, what's funny is like everybody always said, do whatever you can do. If nothing else works out, then go into sales.
Yeah.
You know, that was a mentality I had, you know? So going into sales, I wasn't happy. I wasn't excited about it and stuff. But it did work out really well. I ended up building a 28-year career in sales, up to a vice president of sales, building enormous territories like half of the United States and Europe and Canada, and later on into a vice president position and specializing in helping companies that were in bankruptcy get back into profitability. You know, and I've spent a lot of tires and a lot of engines out on vehicles driving 2,000-3,000 miles a week. And man, so when I got into it, I was just hungry. I had a family at a young age, and it's like I wanted to provide the best I could. And I stumbled so long, you know, working hard, working like massive efforts, traveling exhaustive miles and everything, trying to build sales territories, and really got minimal results rather for my efforts. Mm-hmm. And I've been a student of the works I do today since I was 22. Things like mindset, the law of attraction, even before I knew what it was. And I really started out trying to better my own life.
Yeah.
And so as I go through this corporate career, as I start learning these tools and implementing these tools, I would go from working 6 months to land, a couple $100,000 to land in $25 million sales programs over a 3-year period like that. And it was instituting the same tools that I teach. So one of the things I'm known for is the SMT method, which is a method I have set up. The only people I work with, Greg, are salespeople, whether it's business owners, and business owners are salespeople. You have to be in sales to be a successful business owner or entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. Realtors and insurance agents are the 3 people that I work with. And it's really about, and what I learned through the process of this is it's really about that mindset alignment. For a long time, I ran my life based on my strategies, my logic, what I thought I could do best. And then over the past decade and a half or two, almost 20 years, when I really started thriving in sales is when I started incorporating these tools that I teach business owners and salespeople today. So it's really been an awesome ride. I have clients now who have gone from $30,000 a month up to over $250,000 a month in revenue, just utilizing these tools. He hasn't hired anybody else. He's working less hours than he was when we met, and struggling at the 34,000 number, and it really works over and over and over again in people's lives. But part of the challenge with getting people to understand is we have to get out of here.
Yeah.
In order to incorporate the total mindset. And that's where where I specialize in helping people to do.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. And I like the bold numbers that you're throwing out here, right? Those are some massive numbers that you can take a client from 30,000 to 250,000 a month without having to hire anybody. Those are some big numbers, bro. Those are good.
Yeah. And that's what I said, the bio and things like that. And you mentioned 2 years in a row, top coach. It's actually 3 years. I just found out 2023, I'm going to be named top coach again for, business coach and stuff. Yeah. It's really cool. Like some of the things that have happened. And again, it's not me, it's the impact that stepping into doing this has had. Yeah. I have I'll be up on the marquee in Times Square because of the SMT method and the works I've done and such. So it's like they're getting notoriety so it can get to more people so I can help more people. You know how that goes.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. That's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah.
Congratulations, by the way.
Well, thank you.
Has anyone told you that? Like, you're doing good, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes you gotta pat yourself on the back, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We do. And we skip over that so often.
Yeah.
But one of the things when I'm working with a client, I always start my calls with, let's celebrate successes. What's happened over the past week? Because as we celebrate those, as we get into bringing like that pat on the back and things to it, it helps us to grow that. When, one of the things that I've changed around in my life, squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? Yep. That always means, it's always meant to me, what's not going right gets the attention, right?
Yeah.
That's a squeaky wheel getting the grease. What I've done is I've converted that to the squeaky wheels in my life are the successes. That's what gets my attention. And as we step into celebrating those successes, so many of the negatives take care of themselves.
Where the focus goes, energy flows.
Boom.
I love it. Yeah. Isn't it funny how in sales, I was having a conversation with somebody about this the other day, but sales is the ultimate arena or industry it doesn't matter if you're Doug, what doesn't matter what you're selling, that really forces personal development.
Absolutely.
They have to be successful.
To be successful, absolutely right. And
making sales, you got to, because you do that, you got to stare yourself in the mirror and be like, am I doing the work or am I not? Because your performance is going to tell. But a lot of times we like to tell ourselves little white lies, like, oh, we're doing all we can. And like, oh, I could have done, like, it wasn't me. It was the leads. It was the client. It was this. It was that.
The economy, the market.
All these things.
Yes.
But
I used to live on those.
Dude. People eat those for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right?
That was for years. That was the reason why I wouldn't be successful, why I couldn't be successful. It wasn't me. It was never me. And then ultimately throughout the process of all this happening over a 3-decade period, it's like, if it's not me, I'm screwed. Excuse my language, but I'm stuck. There's nothing I can do.
You can say whatever you want.
Okay, good. Because the name of my company is IFGT, and it stands for it's freaking go time.
I like it. So, there you go.
But you know what I mean? And once I started taking ownership, and because I'll look at realtors, right? And realtors and go, well, interest rates went up, housing market slowed down, and I go, well, why is that guy over there killing it? He's in the same market you're in. And then why are you struggling in a booming economy over the last 2.5 years?
Yeah.
Insurance, sales of any type and stuff. I have a person I worked with. They were doing about $7-8 million in revenue a year. They were so busy. They said, I don't even think I have time to talk to you every week. So hesitantly, they came into working together. Within that year we worked together, her sales went to over $23 million in that year, from 7 to 8 million. And it was the only week of her adult, or the only year of her adult life, that she took 5 weeks of vacation in the same year.
What kind of insurance is that? Life insurance or is it P&C?
She was actually real estate.
Oh, this is real estate. Okay.
Yeah.
Real estate.
But I've had insurance places, I've been able to help them triple their business within maybe not a year, but a year and a half to 2 years. Yeah. And it's just applying these things. And so one of the things I tell people is it's not only growing your business, because that's great. But if your business is growing and you're working 80 hours a week and you've put off your family and you put off your life and what good is that money really? You don't get into being an entrepreneur or your own business to give up your life. And even though so many programs talk about that now, and these coaches talk about you massive actions and you got to be willing to give up your life and to get what you want and things. You can achieve that growth. And I have almost 1,000 clients over the past decade that have achieved that growth or more than they were expecting and had a healthy life balance where they got to enjoy more freedom in their life by doing so. And that's really what ignites me and gets me on fire about helping people.
No, no. And it's tapping into someone's potential, right? It's really like tapping into that little piece of them, that greatness within them that everybody has, but some people just don't realize it. They just don't know. They think, well, they're doing good because of this, and they're doing this because of this. And it's just like, dude, you do understand you can do the same exact things. Like you have the same exact power and potential and greatness within you. And
the only tweak I'd put on that statement is it's not me tapping into their potential. It's me helping them.
Having them to, exactly.
Then they have that ownership there, and
it's kind of like you taking a flashlight and shining it, right? And you see that right there, like get it.
Yeah. And the same thing happened for me, and it happened where I saw some growth and things like that. But it really wasn't until I understood the importance of our subconscious. Which is our conditioning, our paradigms, our patterns, all that stuff. That's that voice in our head that we hear. Yeah. That's all coming from the subconscious. And we can only ever go as far as our subconscious conditioning will allow us. So the only other option we have is you have to identify and shift that conditioning.
Yeah.
And that's what the SMT method is all about. And when we do that, all of a sudden you start hearing different programming, you start hearing a different voice in your head. And all of a sudden you're in that point of celebrating successes and the things you can do rather than why you can't.
Yeah. So Shane, what are some tips without giving up too much of your method, right?
No, that's great. I'd love to share as much.
What are some tips that you can help that can help people to kind of reprogram maybe some limiting beliefs or any of those subconscious patterns that they currently have that are holding them down?
The first thing I would say is the awareness. Now, one thing I'll say as far as that goes as well is, Greg, is when you're looking at that awareness, so many coaching programs and so many people I talk to say, yeah, coaching's not for me. I tried it. It didn't work. And I'll talk to them a little bit. And what they did is they found somebody who was really successful. And then they went to that person and said, show me how to be successful. And that person shows them exactly the steps that they took to bring about success.
Yeah.
But what they're doing is sharing.
That's consulting more than coaching, to be honest.
Well, and they're sharing their pathway. Your pathway will never work for me. My pathway will never work for you. Yeah. So the difference in what I do is in what I tell people, instead of looking for a coach who's successful and telling you exactly the steps they took, the A, B's, and C's to get to D, you really want to find somebody who's going to help you identify and step into your pathway because it's going to be unique to you. Just like our conditioning is unique to us and our experiences, habits, all that's there's some commonality, but overall, we're unique. And that's why even things like when we talk about law of attraction and the secret and things like that and stuff, why it doesn't work for so many people. And my belief is that that's taught as a one size fit all.
Yeah.
But the application of that is going to be unique to the person that's, working with it and such. So don't so much look for somebody who's going to give you their path because it's not going to really get you the success you want. Look for somebody that will help you identify your pathway.
Okay. So I just want to caveat a little bit, sidestep, because I'm a big fan of the law of attraction, metaphysics, quantum realm, all this stuff. I've been in a deep dive and a kick lately to reading more and more about it. The book, I will say for those listening, the book called The Law of Attraction by Michael Lozier is probably the most well written and has applicable strategies that you can use that can help you to kind of get into that, like law of attraction, metaphysics.
Yes.
And he breaks down the science of how it works, because basically we are all energy. All of us are energy, right?
Everything is energy.
Everything is energy. And he talks about the science of like the atoms. It's either positive or neutral or negative energy. And when you are at a positive state, how it actually affects your brain, the cells within your brain, the atoms within your brain, and what that does to the vibrational patterns of the universe and like everything around you, right?
Yes.
And as you get negative, how it actually lowers the atoms and it turns them to a negative state, and what happens from there. And you basically become a magnet for the same exact type of vibrational patterns, right? That's why sometimes you'll meet somebody and you'll just be in a really great mood, and then you'll be with somebody and they'll just feel negative. Like they push you away, and you're just like, oh, I don't want to be around that person. Like, it's just something off, right? And that's kind of the law of attraction at work, right? Now, I really highly recommend go check out his book. It's Michael Lozier. Because he gives strategies and he breaks down the process of like how you actually kind of envision it, how you write it out, how you go through the process to kind of allow it into your life, right?
Yes.
And then as you allow it, you start to see evidence of it, and then as you write the evidence out and you see that, it creates this belief pattern, like and that's where the power really happens, when you see it and you're like, oh man, this is real. And it's like infinite opening at that point.
I'm going to get that book. I have not read it, but that's exactly what this is. And when I said that about celebrating successes, you just said that, because the next step I'd say is once somebody understands that you don't want somebody to tell you what their ABC plan is, because that's not going to work for you. You want somebody to help you figure it out. The next thing is having a vision of that end game. What is it that you want to achieve? What's that look like when you're there? And I have a whole dynamic roadmap to help people to identify what that vision is. And then really with the coaching, we start working on bringing the person to it. And what happens as you start stepping into it, you start bumping up against that conditioning, those patterns, those paradigms that are holding you short, so that we can shift those and open up that avenue. So it's an easy process. And I really like that book that explained that you're talking about how it breaks it down like that, because that's one of the things I think is missing in things like The Secret, a lot of law of attraction.
Kind of like, it's more of like a story based.
Yes.
It's just kind of like, this could happen kind of. And like, it doesn't give you actual practical applications. Like it literally says, hey, this is how you write out like an attraction statement. And it gives examples. It tells you like, start sentences with this, and then write out boom, 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 boom. And it literally like breaks it down for you.
And that's perfect. And something like that, to have that understanding, I'm looking forward to getting the book. To have that understanding is great.
Yeah.
But one of the things I've experienced in my own life, as well as others, and the people I work with and things like that, is so often we're not even aware of our conditioning, our patterns, our paradigms, of why it pulls us away from that. So when we talk about like the SMT method and total mindset alignment, that's the difference between like people doing certain things or doing things a certain way. When we start doing things a certain way, it starts bringing about greater results with less effort. And that's how I open up that can for people, to help them open up what they want to achieve. And it's the law of attraction is throughout the entire program, but not like The Secret.
Yeah.
It's unique to every individual. And I learned that the hard way, man. I've paid a lot of money to coaching programs and stuff and gotten into them. And it was like I walked away going, I don't want to be you. I couldn't get myself to do some of those things they're doing and feel good about it or whatever it may be and stuff like that. So I'd walk away being like disappointed. That's the reason why, and the way those things have happened, that's the reason why, like I offer 100% money back guarantee to every client I work with. Because if I don't get you greater results than you're expecting, then I shouldn't take your money.
That's legit.
Out of almost 1,000 clients, Greg, I've not had one person that's asked me for like a refund after that hasn't.
That's legit. If that right there doesn't friggin' excite you to say, you know what? I'm willing to put in on this and see if this guy could take me to the next level to hit some levels of success that I'm not hitting right now. Money back guarantee, 1,000 clients, never had a friggin' refund. If that doesn't excite you at this point, what are you doing in sales? Like, what are you doing? Right?
Yeah. I mean, that's it. And so getting that message, but it really, like I said, I can go client after client after client and tell you the testimonials and the great things that have happened. And that's what keeps me excited when I start working with somebody and and seeing them get results. And I'm all about getting quick results. It's freaking go time.
Yeah.
It's time. It took me from the time I started studying this stuff at 22, it took me until about a decade ago to actually step out full time into it, resign from corporate America, all that stuff to step into this. It's like, man, I want to make up for time. The other side of things I'm doing is I'm starting up. I have an institute that I'm certifying other coaches in my program, and I'm training them how I coach and everything, so that then I can spread my footprint of impact by them coaching people as well.
Yeah, that's actually pretty smart. I was actually going to ask about that.
Yeah,
I was going to ask about that. So
yeah, that's quite the endeavor to build everything out to get to the point of start certifying people.
Yeah, no, definitely. So you haven't technically like launched it. You're
not yet. No, we have a lot of people putting a lot of work in to do so. I was hoping 23, but it kind of staggered some and such. And I wanted to wait until I built up enough to where we could do it the right way and not try and cut corners and things like that, So
I'll be honest. I'll be honest, bro. I'm interested in like learning how you coach.
Oh, I'd love to talk to you about that. Yeah.
I'm very interested. Like everything you're saying, I'm right in alignment with, but because I can see the power of it and then utilizing those same strategies and tactics for agents that I have on my team. Now I would find a different way to charge them or whatever, but like
sure.
I could learn a lot of that stuff, and I'm willing to do that and also do coaching on the side because I want to do coaching anyways. But you let me know.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about it. Yeah. And what's funny is like some of my clients who were like, they went from being like a realtor to a broker. They went from insurance to getting their own agency and things like that. And they want to get certified as well so that then they can work with their team. And I mean, it's so, even with like, not even, but with what you're doing here with this podcast and helping so many people hear different things they wouldn't otherwise hear, like, man, how awesome of you to do that and to actually step into following it through.
Oh man, I love doing this, bro, because I'm learning as I go too.
Yeah, see, that's exactly how I feel about the coaching and stuff. It's like that's my fire. I mean, that's like, and even like fears and things like that. So often fear will hold us back, and it doesn't even feel like we're fearful. Yeah. But it'll stop us from taking the actions that then open up that that explosive growth for us and such.
Absolutely.
And I'm really big at that. One of the things I did, I think it was October, is I did my first 7 launches off a 2,000-foot mountaintop with a hang glider. And it was all because I was afraid to do it.
Well, this year, I'm doing my first marathon ever because I was afraid to do it.
All right. Good for you.
April 23rd.
Wow, where at?
At Nashville at the nice. Hard Rock Marathon.
God, April. I might be out in Tennessee. And that would be awesome, man.
Yeah, bro.
Good for you.
So I gotta start like running, like increasing my mileage. Yes. I run about 4 to 5 miles every day.
Wow.
So I run every day, 4 to 5 miles. Just recently, like I have a weighted vest that I put on. Yeah. And usually I'll go like a really brisk walk and I'll do that every once in a while. But lately I've been like putting that on and running with it and like jogging with it. Like I did yesterday, dude, like it beat my legs up. Like, so like today I'm just going to run without the weighted vest, but I'm like, well, if I add on weight and I'm getting to the point where I want to get to the point where like it feels normal to run like that, then I'm going to do it. Then I'm going to run like the wind without extra force.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no kidding.
Kind of resistance training. So, and I figure that I'll probably do a couple 10 milers, like just real slow, but out 5 miles, pack 5 miles kind of thing. Yep. And, I'll probably do maybe like one or two half marathons before.
Yeah. Okay.
And then and then I'm just gonna be like, F it, let's go. Like,
yeah. So start causing injuries. That's impressive. You ever think of working out, like lifting weights?
Yeah, I've never seen the inside of a gym.
Man.
I've never seen the inside of a gym. You know what I'm saying? So no, for me, I like, so I like to help people actually with fitness coaching as well. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
charge anything. I just, like, people ask me like, dude, what are you doing in the gym? I'm like, dude, let me show you. And recently I started doing this thing where I started doing push-ups every day, and I just kept increasing the reps. Started back in November, started 100 push-ups a day. Split up, like, I was like 4 sets of 25 throughout the day, 10 sets of 10, whatever I felt like, whatever day,
Okay.
and then every week I kept increasing. I'm at 1,000 push-ups a day now.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I do in sets of 25 and 50 now. So
Okay.
I do usually I
Wow,
do
that's
about
so cool. A
10
thousand
sets of
push-ups in a day.
50, and then I do about 20 sets of 25 throughout the day.
Wow.
And I
That's
do
impressive.
1,000 impressive push-ups every friggin' day, bro. And so, like, it's crazy to look at it now. It's crazy to, and if you'd have told me when I first started this, I was gonna be doing 1,000 push-ups a day, I'd have been like,
Yes.
no effing way, bro. But now when I'm doing it, it's not that big of a deal. It doesn't
Yeah.
take that long. It's just like, I'll just, like, when I get off this call, I'm gonna drop down and do 50 push-ups, and then I'm gonna get back up and go about my day.
And right there, Greg, isn't that the human condition right there?
Yeah.
Is we got a goal in mind, like somebody, and then once we achieve it and we're on that mountaintop and we get it, life gets boring unless we go for something else.
It's something different.
And continue growing that. And it's so funny, like, the one guy I told you that he went from 34,000 to over $250,000 a month in revenue. Like, when I said, okay, so what's your goal? What do you want to get to? He goes, man, if I could just get to $45,000 like a month, I'd be doing good. I'd quit having to use my line of credit. So I'm going, no. It's not about like these small little fragments. Like, what's something that would be like freaking outrageous? Yeah. And one of the things I love when I'm talking to people and they go, well, that's not realistic. And I'll say,
dude, the universe is infinitely abundant. It will provide.
Do you want to live in a realistic world? Frick, my goals, my plans, my vision is totally unrealistic. That's what I want to achieve. Yeah. I don't want to achieve the minimals and the minute and mediocre results for things. Like, I want to take huge bounds into what I want to achieve.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And so it's like building that side of things. So I ended up building them up to 500,000. And now within a few months, he's at 250,000. I just talked to him the other day. He said, man, because I talked to him last October. He goes, man, January, February, and March are my worst months, for wholesaling stuff. It's my worst months. Like, I've only done $20-some thousand a month at my best, 5 years, stuff like that. Now, okay, let's get out of that now, because you don't live there anymore. And what do you want it to be and stuff like that? He called me up yesterday. He goes, man, I just toppled over 500,000 for January and February combined. This is incredible. And that's somebody who's not living realistically. Yeah. And if you're in sales and you're living realistically, if you're in sales, one of the things, Greg, I don't even do like the short, long-term goals, the monthly goals, the number of calls. I don't even do that stuff anymore. I started out doing all of that stuff and I needed to understand it really well. But today I go off of that vision, not how many calls I'm going to make. Before we got on the call, 20 minutes before we got on the call, I was doing a coaching session with a gentleman in Texas who left the $80,000 months ago, left the $80,000 a month or a year job because his business has just kind of launched to be like three times what it was when I met him and stuff. And so he just cut the strings and stuff like that not long ago. And we were talking today, and it's all about that whole thing. Like, where do you want to go from here? And once we experience it, we don't go back to realistic. So what he's doing, and this is another kind of tool that listeners can apply, is he's going, okay, well, I figured it out. If I want to do this much, and he backed it up, and I got to do this many calls every day and stuff like that in order to hit that and stuff. And it's like, well, what if you just block out time? And if you don't feel like making calls, following up on quotes, check into seeing who your competitors are for the people you're currently selling to. Or maybe it's calling new contacts, or maybe it's calling, like people you've quoted and you haven't, you didn't get awarded the business, and following up on those and keep it. Like, we get so stuck in our head on what that process needs to be that we're not noticing the things that are showing up easy. And that's what happens with the massive efforts and things like that, is the things that are happening, law of attraction, things like that are showing up to serve what our vision is. We're missing. Because we're so focused like this on what we want. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. So
it's being like, it's allowing yourself some time to allow the things to show up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I practice a tool with every client I do. When you get up in the morning and you get the day going, ask yourself, what's something you would love today? What's something, you know, to be, do, have, give, create, experience that you would just love to show up in your life? Maybe somebody buy you a lunch. I had a client the other day I was talking to, and she said, you know, I said, I really want somebody to buy me a round of golf. And she ended up going out there and they forgot to charge her for it. So she went back in. He goes, you know what, just go. You're here often enough anyways. And she got a free round of golf. And what you do is you take that, what that is that you desire, and then build up the vision of that. What's it going to feel like? Again, the end game. What's it going to feel like when that shows up? And then just let it go. Like quit, you know, stop. Yeah. Don't try to make it happen or figure it out or strategize or any of that stuff. Just let it go and watch things start showing up that way. That's exactly. And I use that as a starting tool because that's exactly how I help people to take those huge launches by doing the same thing. We just increase it.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you're right. A lot of times, a law of attraction, they kind of talk about or they discuss, and it depends on like which material you're reading, but writing out the vision and then literally letting it go. Yeah. Like it's almost like, and now it's in the universe's hands, like just go. Right. Yes. Like, and you'd be surprised. Right.
Oh, yeah. And for a long time, you know, I had a vision of like, or I thought I had a vision of what I wanted to achieve in sales and things like that for the organization I was working for, you know, and I would constantly be strategizing, figuring out how I could do it. And if I fell behind on calls or fell behind on, you know, things like that, I would try to pick up more. And I was constantly trying to figure it out. And I had some level of success there, but it was so minute. When I was being pushed by the pain of succeeding and everything else, then when I shifted that over and I had a vision that started pulling me and I started going about life rather than doing 150 miles an hour, I would start going about life at a pace where I could receive those things that were showing up, overhear those conversations, have time to have that creative thought that comes out of the blue. That leads to a huge success. And multiple times in sales, I would be just driving and doing stuff. And all of a sudden I'd get a thought of a customer or a quote I did or something like that. And this happened to me so many times. I'd pick up the phone and call the person and I would hear them say over and over again, things like, oh my God, I'm getting ready to source that. And I forgot I had your quote. Could you resend it to me or let me look and see if I got it? And we would get awarded that business because of that phone call that came out of the blue.
Tell you, bro, law of attraction.
Isn't that's exactly what it is at its core.
That's it.
Yeah. Now, if I were doing 150 miles an hour and trying to strategize every plan and what I was going to do and how I was going to do it and where I was going to do it and who I was going to do it with and all that, I missed that. I missed that thought sparking and coming at me.
Yeah. No, I love that. So I love the concept also about coaching. And I think that this is something insurance agents that I've seen really have a trouble grasping the power of, right? So, and like the necessity in order to hit greatness, right? They feel like, well, you know, I'm just going to get training from my upline. It's my upline's responsibility or whatever. And then they just want to, but then they never follow what their upline says anyways.
Well, and part of it is because they're given so much shit that they got to do. It's impossible for anybody to really follow it and do it all consistently.
Exactly. And so when I was first in insurance, I understood the power of coaching, you know, coming out of the military. And I was like, you know what? I'm like, I was like literally my first month of being an insurance agent. Like I just got my license. Right. And then this coaching program came and did this whole presentation and they were like, hey, we do sales coaching, blah, blah, blah. I was the only, and there was people that had been in that office for a year. I was the only person that signed up. Yeah. The only. And guess what? I crushed everyone's sales in that. And that was like, that was like the end of October in 2017. And they had this big competition that was going on in all of the entire insurance company. It was a captive company. Across the entire company, I was the #1 sales agent in the entire company that had been within the first 2 years of been working with the company. I beat everybody.
Congratulations. And absolutely. Why wouldn't you? And this is why I work with a coach in my life still. After doing it for this long, all the certifications I have, because they can see things that I don't see. There's still things in the conditioning and things like that make logical sense that I would do it this way. But that way, somebody who's been down the road and knows these tools and things like that, they can help us see things on why that's causing our limitations to help us shift it so that we get those results that we want.
Yeah.
Kind of like climbing. I always use the analogy of climbing Mount Everest. I haven't done it yet, but is you can go out there, you can fill out the form, put it in the box, and you can just go on your own.
Yeah.
But how much more enjoyable and possibly life-saving could it be to have somebody who's been through that terrain, who knows what to look out for, who knows what to do for weather and things like that, than it is to go it alone. But in our business, in our life, really, because the time we put into our business takes away from other areas of life, that we try to go it alone, or we try to follow somebody else's pathway.
Yeah.
It's
challenging.
Yeah.
Like, why would you, and that's actually a great comparison.
Yeah.
Going and building your own business and trying to go it alone is literally like, sometimes it can be like climbing Mount Everest, because you're going to hit challenges. You're going to hit tough spots. You're not going to know what to do. Why would you want to sit there and possibly have your business freeze to death because you don't even know what's going on?
Yeah.
When you could actually have a coach that could come in and be like, dude, they can exponentially shorten the time frame it takes for you to get through those difficult parts of the entrepreneurial journey into a more successful. Now, that's not going to take away every single problem or issue or obstacle. It's not going to, but it's going to make it exponentially easier to cross over them and to get
to go through them. Yes, absolutely. And that's really, a good coach who's got results and the program, like there's somebody who can help you do that and really kind of help you maneuver around the obstacles as much, but then go through them when you need to, and help get that total mindset into alignment so that what you're doing, the actions you're taking, the effort you're putting in is leading towards the results you want and not sideways.
Yeah.
Which can happen without us even recognizing.
Absolutely.
And I love working with agents who are, whether it's insurance or real estate, who's a couple years into the business. Like, I love working with everybody, but when they're a couple years in the business, they got their license, they have this thing that they're really going to help people, and they're excited, they're on fire. And then they go through like working with their upline, and they get all these to-dos and all the stuff they have to do and everything else and like I said, it's so much effort. Nobody can really keep up with it. If their upline's honest, they're not doing all those things. Because they wouldn't be able to have time to sleep at night if they did. And I help them take out of that whole menu of things, and I help them develop systems of accelerating habits. So we start taking the ones that align for them, and we start putting more effort into doing more of that. As an example of that, somewhat insurance, I think it's a little heavier in real estate insurance, but all these lives that you see on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Greg, you ever see somebody do a live and you can tell they can't stand doing it?
Yeah.
How long do you listen to that person?
2 seconds before I'm off.
Yep. Yeah. You ever listen to somebody who's really energetic? They're really into what they're saying, and you can just tell it's coming from their heart. How long do you listen to those people?
Obviously, there's a lot of authenticity there, so it's more attractive. I'm like, oh, what message do they have?
And so often, like, people are taught that you have to do lives, you have to do this, you have to do. I have people who are super successful that never do a live because they can't stand doing it, but they'll do this and they'll something else, and they'll do more of it. The 10,000-pound phone, with cold calling. So many people can't stand doing that, but it is important to do that. So I work with people to help them turn that into a game where they start getting enjoyment out of it and stuff. And I did that myself. I would do cold calls, developing new territories. And it was like, I couldn't stand doing cold calls. And I finally got in this mode where I'd go, you know what? I'm going to look for 10 no's today. And so you call and you call and you call and you get your no's. And then I'll get to like number 7 and they'll go, yeah, I'll set up a time to meet with you. And it's almost like, oh shit, that takes away one of my no's. And there's ways of doing things like that shift that conditioning, because it's all a matter of perception. What I tell people is the reality of our life is make believe, because it's based on your perceptions. And the good news in that is at any time you can shift your perceptions and shift the reality of your life. The bad news, nobody can do it for you. You got to be a willing participant.
Yeah, absolutely. You do. And it's the old adage, you can show a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Yes. Yes.
I could technically shove your face into the lake, but it doesn't really do anything. Like you still got to drink. So, um,
Okay, I'm complimenting your arms and you're threatening me now.
drink the water. Drink the water. Man, so I appreciate you sharing all this. And I know we talked before this started, and you had mentioned that you had an offer for insurance agents that you
Yes.
would do a coaching session to kind of show them how you could help, and you wanted to offer that to the audience, which I think is awesome. So talk a little bit about that, and
Sure.
where's the best place that they can follow you to look for content or just learn more about you?
Yeah, you can look at Joey or Joseph Drolshagen, IFGT coach, at any social media. My website will put in the links, but really, like, my whole thing again is helping people get impact. Like, I love getting to live this life of doing this, and and so anybody who this is resonating, you got questions, even if you think it's bullshit, you can schedule a free consultation coaching session with me, and we'll get on there and we'll talk about these principles, but we'll apply them to you and where you're at. So when you hang up that phone, you'll have some ideas of things you can do differently and such. And so anybody can schedule one of those calls. It's a half-hour call with me at coachwithjoseph.com. And you can just type in coachwithjoseph.com and schedule that right then and there and get on my calendar, and we'll jump on the phone and we'll talk about where you're at, what's going on. And if I can help you to shift that around, you'll leave that call, like I said, with some tools to help you start bringing about change in your results. And ultimately, that's all what we're all aiming for in life.
Yeah. And that's a great offer, honestly, like for the audience. Take up Joey on this offer. Go do that first coaching call, and just even if it's something that you don't even, that you're like, what, I'm not going to buy, still do the coaching call. It's free. You never know what a little tidbit of information you might be like, oh, I'm going to apply this to my business. Then you apply to your business, you see a difference. You're like, oh, wow, that actually worked. You might be more willing to jump in and get a coach, which is going to help you in your business ultimately. Right.
Yes.
So, and if you, like you said, prove them wrong. Be like, no, this is bullshit.
Yeah. And I've had people do that, Greg, and call me up. And one of the things I want to say, this is not a sales call.
Yeah.
I'll help you however I can. I'll talk to you a little bit for a few minutes about what my programs are and see if they align for you. But like, I don't have to go out and drag people in for clients anymore. I work mainly on referrals and such. So if it aligns, if it's something I can help you with, if nothing else, you're going to leave that call knowing some things you can do to start bringing about change in your business and your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Joey, for the last question I ask all of my clients, or not my clients, you got me in the coaching mode now. For all of my guests that come on the podcast, you have an opportunity to sit with, learn from, break bread with, just to have a down and dirty discussion, learn as much as you can with 3 individuals, anyone in history, alive or deceased. Who would those 3 people be?
Wow, that's a great question. One of my personal mentors was Bob Proctor, and he just passed away recently. I'd love to get more time with him. I'd love to get more time with Joseph Murphy, who wrote The Subconscious Mind, and that's really what opened me up to that connection of mindset. Yep. And I'd have to say, there's so many greats like Wallace Wattles and those guys. I
actually just bought Wallace Wattles' books. When recommended, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Neville Goddard's another one, but I'll say Wallace Wattles.
Neville Goddard, Feeling is a Secret. Great book.
Oh, man. I have all his books. They're all great. Yeah.
Neville Goddard, that's a really good book. It's only a book I've read.
That would be my 3. If I could extend it to 5 somewhere in there, I'd add Kid Rock.
Oh, that's a good one. No one's ever said that one. Yeah, he's unapologetically him, bro. I like that.
What's that?
Kid Rock is unapologetically like
stuff. He's just one of the things I got from him, because I grew up in Detroit and he's from there and stuff like that. So there's that. But like, he really helped me to build what's become a healthy self-esteem. Mm-hmm. And he's gone so far over with his music and stuff like that it's kind of helped, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's still motorcycle and gym music for me.
Yeah. I love it. Those are 3 great choices, man. I appreciate you sharing that, and also coming on board and providing a lot of value and even extended value to people that actually listen to the end, and they're going to go ahead and get that free coaching call. If you got value from this, if you watched till now, I know you got some value. Do me a favor. I need your help. I want you to share this with another person that's in sales, another person that wants to get in sales, somebody that can get value from this that can help them with their mindset, to help them to accomplish the things that they want to accomplish. Just by you sharing that, you never know who you might be able to influence, right? It takes you 60 seconds to go ahead and rate, review, subscribe, to share this content, send it to somebody that might be able to gain something, maybe get a different perspective, learn something, grow. And I would be eternally grateful, and so would Joey. And that helps us to touch more lives. So go ahead.
I just want to throw this in there really quick, because so often we hear things like that. Like, I'll have clients sometimes and they'll go, I'm not referring you to anybody. I want to keep you to myself. And we get that mentality of that competition.
Yeah,
but really, when we do that, when we hold the good stuff to ourselves, we kink the hose of flow.
Yeah.
So by sharing this with somebody, even one person, it opens up that flow for you to receive more of whatever it was you received here.
It's also like a reciprocity thing with the universe. If you want clients, your sales, and you want clients to refer you, you should be doing referrals for things that also give value, because you're telling the universe, this is what I want.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
These are the kinds of things that I want. Share that stuff, and you're
more likely picks it up through our actions. Yeah.
Like, because you're telling the universe, this is what I believe in.
Yes.
And I want more of this. Right.
Yes.
Simple concept, but it works. Yeah. But this has been the Be the Difference podcast. I'm your host, Greg Birch. Until next time, we'll see you.